skip to the Camoli situation. You know I'm not happy about that. Thucydides said back in Greece, there'll be no justice in Westerly unless the people who are not injured are as outraged as the people who are injured in this town. And the Dubois and the Balbots are spent emotionally, financially, and it's not fair what's going on there. So I'm against your settling with these people, and the only reason you're settling, and I said it when it happened that this was coming back, anybody with a brain knew this was coming back. This is coming back because it was unconstitutional. If the town council last year had published this before they voted, we could have picked up on it, but you didn't. And as I said in my email to you, I think Mr. Duhamel and Mr. Carson need to get up here and tell us why they voted for it. I know that they didn't get all this information, all the information you have, and you're still not getting all the information. That's the way it works. And I know what happened at the meeting up in Mr. Oliverio's office in Providence. Okay, it's not been reported correctly, but when I listened to it, all I could vision were vultures on a carcass in the Serengeti. The lawyers sitting around dividing it up, and the carcass are the Balbots, Dubois, and the people of Westerly. I'm not going to stand for it. I will do everything in my power to stop it, because it is not fair, all right? And you don't have all the information, and you better publish that. Better publish the agreement before you sign it, and if you're going to support it, please put on the record, have the integrity to put on the record why you're supporting it. And please explain to me and the people of Westerly how the Lucy property, there's two properties, everybody, the Lucy property that you gave a tax break for 10 years, was it 10 years? Didn't make them pay taxes, or very little, because it was open space. How that becomes a quarry again and not be abandoned. All you have to do, and it could have been done right away, is ask Judge Stern to decide that one issue. Was the Lucy property abandoned or was it not abandoned? If he says it wasn't abandoned, case over. If he says it was abandoned, case is also over, because nobody wants that quarry unless they get the Lucy property. Now, if you want to get in bed with George Camoli, get in bed with George Camoli, but I'm going to remind you what it's like the next morning. George Camoli, ask yourself, did they abide by the consent order before? Remember, you had a consent order for a year. Did they abide by it? Ask Jason Parker. Ask the neighbors. They're not going to abide by anything you agree to. George Camoli was suspended, his law license was suspended in 1991. Okay? You know how hard it is to get your license suspended? You have to be dishonest. He was less than forthcoming with the disciplinary board. Being dishonest to the disciplinary board borders on delusion. It's like going into the confessional and lying to the priest. That's what that man does. So when he's whispering in your ear, when you're cozying up to him, whispering sweet little nut things, he's probably lying to you. And you're going to have to wake up with him in the morning. I'm going to make sure of it. He doesn't do what he says. Now, I hope your attorney has briefed you on this case. This is Essex Insurance Company versus Westerly Granite Company and all. You know what this is? I hope you know what it is. Now, Camolis don't have insurance. All right? Get a copy of it. That's why you had to pay Mulhern $125,000. That's the first settlement agreement I've seen, and I'm no big settlement guy or big civil guy. You had to pay the opposing counsel $125,000. Every one of those that I've seen, both sides pay their own legal fees. You got duped. Not you personally, but the town got duped. $125,000 because they don't have any insurance. And you can read this yourself. I'll be glad to send it over to you. What's beautiful about it, just my indulgence, the reason they're not insured is because they don't have insurance for the movement of land or earth. That's a quarry. You got a quarry and you're not insured for the movement of land and earth, regardless whether emanating from blah, 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 aggravated by blah, blah, blah. No insurance for pollution. No pollution insurance. No abatement for anything they do. How can you have a quarry on your property and not be insured for the pollution it may cause? No insurance for asbestos, lead, silica dust and/or toxic dust, fungi, bacteria, organic pathogens. Thanks, George Camoli. No insurance. They're in worse shape than you are. They don't have the leverage in this thing. It's coming back, and they don't have the leverage, and that's why they're intimidating everybody. Also, I hope you've read the agreement. I'm sure you have, because if you're ready to vote, I'm sure you've read this agreement. This is the agreement between Westerly Granite Company and Mary Lucy. You all read it? I'll stop if you've all read it, because it should be, you should know it. This is from 1999 through 2001 on the Lucy property, which we're calling a quarry. It's always been a quarry. She tells them that there's be no digging, excavation, blasting, or the like shall occur. It being the intent of the parties to this agreement that licensee, Westerly Granite, be able to remove only surface stone or stone previously excavated for the period of 18 months. Oh, that's a hell of a quarry on the Lucy's property. But I'm sure you have this. The problem is, I know what the problem is here. It's the same problem with me. I don't have time. I have a day job too. But you people are making tough decisions. You're all bright enough to make it. The other town council, last town council, a few of them, they had an excuse. They weren't smart enough. But you will have no excuse. All you have to do is read this stuff. I could go on and on and on about Copar. But I'm asking you, before you make your decision, make sure you can read it and articulate it. When I tried a lot of criminal cases, I had tough cases. My guy was guilty, and I needed to get a not guilty verdict. What I needed to do, and this is, jurors are the same as you and everybody else, to make a decision, you have to be able to go home to your wife or your husband, your friends, your coworkers, and tell them, I acquitted the guy, and this is why I acquitted, and I feel good about it. So, when you make decisions up here, I would like to see you say, this is why I'm doing it, it's a great decision, and I'm proud of my decision. I don't see that often. I say, geez, well, I didn't know, so we just went along with what our attorney said. Now, Mr. Oliveria is a bright guy, but he's like a public defender. He's got so many cases you've asked him to do. It's overwhelming. And we're going to need to, I don't know how long it's going to last, but we should beef up our legal team because of the problems we have. But he's overworked. He can't read all this. And this is no slight to him. I'm not here to embarrass him, but it's too much. You're going to have to make sure you understand it. I'm asking you to, and I'm going to, a little bit of carrot and a little bit of stick. I will hold you to it. We can't without the last one. They all ran away. Town council, but they never said why they voted and are proud of it. But if you're not proud of your decision and you can't tell us why, then you shouldn't be making it. And if you don't understand something, you should know it. There's nothing in the law that hard. That's a bunch of garbage. If your attorney can't explain it to you, then he doesn't understand it. And that's not any reflection on him.